One of Stalin's most ambitious projects was building a railway that would span across northern Siberia, connecting the most remote areas of the USSR. The construction of the Salekhard-Igarka railway, now also referred to as the Railway of Death, was part of the Soviet Gulag system. Around 100,000 Gulag prisoners worked on the project before it was eventually abandoned after Stalin's death. The only section of the railway that was completed and is still in operation nowadays is the one that connects Vorkuta to Labytnangi on the shore of the river Ob. This railway line lies entirely within the Arctic Circle and has a really fascinating, albeit sad history. That is why I decided as a lone foreigner to buy a ticket for the 300-kilometer journey from Vorkuta to Labytnangi. Oh my god, this is by far the worst weather ever to jump on a train. And this is not even my train, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. A gdzie Labytnangi? Знаете? So this is my train and apparently there's no platform. You just board a train from the railway tracks. I haven't seen a snowfall of this size in a long time, especially in summer. А это Labytnangi?
Да.
Здравствуйте. Вагон 4.
Ваше 20 место с билетом.
Спасибо. Wow, we made it. With a few minutes to spare, Jace. Look at the snow.
Видишь, да? Весна.
Это весна, да? You see, this is spring here in northern Russia. And by the way, yeah, this is my bed. And by the way, we're actually leaving. Wow, look at this. We left not even 10 minutes ago and we're already in the middle of the tundra. And you can barely see anything because of this snow. I mean, the snowstorm, I mean, not just the snow that you see on the ground. Wow, it's insane. Oh, and by the way, the train conductor just told us that there are no toilets available for the next 2 hours on the train. So it's going to be fun. At this point, all I had to do was prepare my bed for the 9-hour train ride that was ahead of me, and then relax, sit back and enjoy. Right, and I made my bed, so I'm all set. And you still see some fences, some buildings, which have now been turned into railway stations and railway stops, but back in the day, these buildings were used to house the prisoners and the guards who, by the way, for most of the duration of the existence of the gulags used to live in the same conditions as prisoners. They did not have it that much better. After quickly passing through the first stops of the journey, we approached the village of Sieda, which Wikipedia says has a population of 23. According to the timetable, we were going to be stationary there for over an hour. Guys, since we are going to be sitting at this station for like an hour, I want to take the chance to show you something interesting, which is the timetable of this train. Look at this. Huh?
Камера?
Да, просто этот поезд для меня очень интересный, да? Поэтому смотрю расписание. Guys, take a look at the timetable of the train that you can see here. Let's go. So basically you see all these small settlements all the way from Vorkuta to Labytnangi, and basically almost all of these settlements are pretty much abandoned, and you just have to imagine that the prisoners from the Gulag in Vorkuta gradually started building the railway to Yaga, Khanoviei, Piesiec, Chum, Seda, and all these settlements were built to firstly house the prisoners of the Gulag, and then secondly, once the Gulag was dismissed, all these settlements were either abandoned or they were just kept alive by the workers supporting the railway, which to this day travels between Vorkuta and Labytnangi. So you see?
Зачем вы к нам приехали? Я вот, например, лично был на Ниагаре. Прекрасные места.
В Канаде?
Да.
Там дороже, в России
Тут
дешевле.
красота, да?
Но здесь тоже мне нравится, честно говоря. Экзотически для меня. Прямо в Салехарде едете?
Нет, я до Полярной.
В горах, да?
Да, и там есть знак Европа-Азия. Будете проезжать, я вам покажу потом. Вот на этой стороне будете ехать, вот на
Хорошо.
этой стороне.
Но
Я вам
если-
подскажу.
Да, подскажите, если вы еще будете на поезде, да,
Проводить
подскажите.
может добрый, он и дверь откроет.
Хорошо. Там будет путь, а я тоже могу в магазин.
Протопчет тебе.
Oh fuck, he's still pissing down with snow. Can you say that? Like pissing down with snow? Wow, over there in the distance, you still can see the Gulag watchtower. There's a shop. Let's actually see if this shop in the middle of nowhere is working or not. Ah, jeez. Oh.
Здравствуйте. А у вас как цены, представляю, дороже?
Цену по сравнению с розничными, с магазинами, да, там, супермаркетами,
Ага,
подороже.
да. Надо все импортировать, да?
Тяжелая логистика, доставка.
Ага. Вы работаете сюда и живете в городе Vorkuta или как?
Здесь и живем,
В поселке?
да, чтобы каждый день не ездить.
Понятно. Семья есть?
Ну да,
Да.
дом, семья, дерево
Ага.
посадили,
Понимаю.
как обычно.
Понимаю. Просто круто, интересно для меня. Знаете, живут теперь или только рабочие, наверное?
Кто на железной дороге, да, кто-то на пенсии, уже пенсионеры.
Значит, у вас клиенты, когда поезд останется
Да,
здесь?
условно.
Понимаю.
Основной трафик.
Понимаю. А как вас зовут?
Максим,
Максим. Давиде.
займи.
Well, and this is by far the most remote shop I've ever been to.
Еще раз здравствуйте. Познакомился с парнем, да, хороший человек.
While I was discovering that taking out my camera under the snow wasn't the brightest idea, some students from a school in Vorkuta on a school trip took interest in me and my English speakingness.
I'm getting interviewed by a group of schoolgirls on a school trip from Vorkuta to Labytnangi. School trip, поняла, да? Okay, they know some English, so I gotta be careful with this.
Надо по-английски how old are you?
Okay. Try to guess.
Так, подожди.
Что ты пробуй?
Попробуй отгадать? Да. Да. Давай на
26.
Нет, 20.
Нет, 26.
26, lukewarm.
27.
Нет.
28. 29.
Не.
Меньше, да?
24.
Сними сильно.
Да.
Я угадала?
Да,
Сколько?
да.
24. 24.
В камеру
У нас есть.
Привет. А это где? Это будет на Ютубе?
В
В
Инстаграме.
Инстаграме.
Да,
Хорошо.
у вас
Нет.
Дайте пройти.
Man, these girls want me to teach them bad words in Italian, but I can't do it. They're like 15 years old.
бич. Это что-то
Курва.
Это не итальянский.
Это пляж по-английски.
это пляж.
Мы знаем.
Только через них, да, только через их.
Очень приятно. Пока.
Подписчики.
Отметим вас в истории.
Скажем, это было очень
Да,
интересно.
пишите. Хорошо, спасибо. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Cheers. Bye-bye. I don't know about you guys, but definitely this doesn't feel like planet Earth. And now you see these fences right here, and that is pretty much the first man-made object that we could see for the past 200 kilometers or something. And it was probably built by the people of the Gulag. Oh, and by the way, the fact that so many fences are appearing now, that means we are getting closer to the next station.
Around halfway through the journey, we approached the settlement of Polyarny Ural, whose name literally means Polar Ural. This small village is right at the feet of the Ural Mountains and sits right across the border between Europe and Asia. It is here that it's possible to find the obelisk marking the border between the two continents that the Russian gentleman told me about at the beginning of my journey.
И через 2 минуты будет там.
Да-да-да, имею в виду, вы работаете
Мы
здесь?
сейчас, да, мы сейчас
Ага,
уходим,
понял.
вы уже без нас.
Хорошо.
Сейчас вам это освободят место.
мы сопь, на сопь.
Ага. После Урала?
Да.
Alright guys, we're just about to cross from Europe into Asia, and just for the occasion, they agreed to open the door of the train for me. Еще нет? Думаете, что так много снега, что памятник не видно?
Я не вижу.
Ага.
Подождите.
А не можем остановиться с поездом, нет?
Нет.
I'm joking. Он не очень высокий.
Невысокий.
А, понял. Да, тогда может очень много снега пойдет, попадал и не видно.
Ну еще немного постоим, потом я не знаю. Вот. Да. Подготовьтесь.
А можете держать, пожалуйста?
Могу. Да.
О! Очень быстро попадала. Хорошо, может я смотрю на интернете тогда. Но спасибо вам большое. Потом проверяю, если... О, вы мокрая, я не хотел, чтобы вы были мокрые. Спасибо большое. I mean, we didn't catch it, like no way. But at least we officially crossed from Europe into Asia.
Look, you guys see this thing? That's the only picture I was able to get of the Europe-Asia obelisk. Well, wow guys, these are not the Urals, these are the polar Urals. We're getting deeper into the mountains. Wow.
At one point into the journey, we crossed the border between the Komi Republic, the region of Russia where Vorkuta is located, and the autonomous okrug of the Yamalo-Nenets, one of the most remote parts of Russia and home to the native Nenets people. I was now ever so close to my destination.
Well guys, we officially made it into the Yamalo-Nenets autonomous okrug, by the way, which is another region of Russia. We crossed from the Komi Republic, crossing the polar Ural mountains all the way to the Yamalo-Nenets. And this is where we are. And the snow is still falling, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping anytime soon. Все пассажиров заметили меня. Да. Иностранцев немного бывают здесь, да?
Ну, нет, тогда, не помню, в каком году были с BBC.
Да?
Да.
Англичанин?
Были.
Угу,
Вот
интересно.
Ехали их, по-моему, и с ними руководитель был. Они не сами по себе.
Понял. Но я один приехал.
Трое и руководитель русский.
А, хорошо.
Бывает.
Ага, понял.
Угу.
Спасибо.
Так что не вы первый.
Спасибо большое за компанию.
Счастливо, всего хорошего.
Удачи.
До свидания.
Вот. А где вы будете ночевать?
А я не знаю, здесь комната отдыха, наверное, есть.
А потом завтра обратно?
Да.
You see guys, we made it to Labytnangi. Let me actually take a couple of minutes to congratulate myself. Wow, what a feat! It's so windy out here, like everywhere else in the Arctic. Labytnangi, the final destination of the train, is located on the opposite side of the river Ob to Salekhard, the capital of the Yamal-Onenets territory. As there is no overnight accommodation in Labytnangi, I had to make my way to Salekhard before dark. At those latitudes, there are no bridges on the river Ob. In winter, locals cross the river between Labytnangi and Salekhard by driving on the frozen river surface, whereas in summer, there are regular ferries. In the in-between seasons, when the river is not fully frozen, Salekhard is often isolated from the rest of the world. Alright guys, I definitely made it to Labytnangi, and now it's time for me to make my way to the shore of the river, and from there I will be able to take something like a ferry or a hovercraft, depending on the status, on the condition of the river, of course, separating Labytnangi from Salekhard. Although the Labytnangi train station was located a few kilometers from the river, getting there wasn't much of a problem, as I easily hitchhiked a ride from kind locals. О, спасибо большое.
Пожалуйста. Не местный?
Совсем не местный.
Совсем не местный?
А София сделала заявку? Ну, вон, видишь, девки стоят.
Спасибо большое, очень приятно.
Сейчас вот лед сойдет, и между двумя городами будет ходить паром.
Ага.
Это называется подушка.
Подушка.
Сейчас она надуется. Вот это нижняя часть у нее.
Здравствуйте.
Я позвоню.
Well, my first ride on a hovercraft was pretty cool, wasn't it? Oh, and now I made it to Salekhard. I was there just a few minutes before. Well guys, I made it to my destination. What a day! And what a place! Look, there's a freaking mammoth looking over us. Jesus! So we took the train today. We went for a 9-hour train ride across the Arctic. We arrived on the shore of the river Ob, and we crossed the river on a hovercraft. Guys, thank you very much for sticking with me until the very end. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this one, because I did, for sure.